What's up, family? It's your favorite cousin Rich, back again with episode 24 of Rich Talks. And today, we're going to be discussing the shadow self. Yes, Carl Jung's famous or infamous shadow self. Directly from Carl Jung, he defines the shadow self as the unconscious part of the personality that contains the aspects of ourselves that we reject or are unaware of. This includes traits, desires, behaviors, and emotions that society, upbringing, and personal values deem unacceptable or inappropriate. These shadow elements are often repressed because they conflict with our conscious self-image or the roles we play in life. Now, the shadow self. The shadow self is everything that society, your upbringing, your friends, family deem what? Unacceptable or inappropriate. But are they really? Are they inherently negative? No. Just because society, your personal upbringing, all these factors say is inappropriate or unacceptable or deny it, does not deem it to be negative. See, the shadow self is what makes you you in totality, completely. If we all have this, or we all present our good side, that allows everybody to be the same. But to me, it's the shadow elements. It's your shadow side, which really brings about who you are in totality. To me, that's what makes you the character of who you are. Not character in a good way necessarily, but that's the hidden parts of you that makes the full, complete image. See, without your shadow self, you're not a complete image. But I believe it's necessary for us to dive into our shadow self in order for us to be complete. I see it like a superpower. I see the shadow self as something that was given to us by the divine that was supposed to utilize for our benefit. And if it's something that could be detrimental to us, right, then that's something that we need to seek out in order for it not to be in our way. Because a lot of times the shadow self, the shadow part of us that we deny or we don't accept or we don't like, that could be the part that's holding us back. That could be the part that's separating us from who we truly want to be, the people we truly want to be, where we want to be, what we truly want to have, what we truly desire. So it's imperative that you don't run away from it. I say it's something that you should embrace. Because once you embrace it, like I said, now it's your superpower. It can't hold you back. Anything that you deny can hold you back. Everything that you accept has the ability to move you forward. Whether because now it can help you that you've accepted it, or now it won't play a factor in holding you back because you've accepted it. And you say, well, what exactly are or what exactly is, the shadow self. And you know, how do you find things like the shadow self? What is it? The shadow self can include negative and positive qualities. It's not, just inherently negative, like I said. But it can be things like anger, jealousy, fear, or even things like hidden talents, desires. Things that just don't align with society or your upbringing or whatever the case may be. It can be as simple as you want to be a dancer, any kind of dancer, but you grew up in a family of doctors. And they all talk about, being a doctor and how that's the highlight of their life and da 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 da. But deep down inside, you want to be a dancer or a comedian. Something that goes against the grain. Is that negative? No. But that's the complete you. That's the part of you that you deny that makes you you. Or the other aspect of something that may be quote unquote negative of anger. Right? So you say, every time somebody trespasses against you, you get angry. And this anger is something that's held you back from achieving what you want to achieve or achieving the things that you believe you could achieve, and or this anger is something that's been a part of you. And because since it's been a part of you, you've lost things. You've lost, people that you love. You lost jobs. You lost items. Excuse me. Not being able to control your anger. That part of you is not necessarily hidden. It's right there. But it's that shadow part of you that you notice that's always been lingering around. But you haven't dealt with it. You haven't faced it. It's just there. It's just something that you've accepted. But you haven't faced it. So what do? You have to sit. You have to meditate. You have to do the shadow work. Shadow self, shadow work. See? When you sit down and face your shadow self, you're not able to see where this anger came from. When you sit down with yourself and you see that being a doctor doesn't benefit you in any kind of way, that it brings more stress upon you than it does happiness and peace, and you accept it, that's when your life changes. For the better. Not for the worse, but for the better. See, when you accept that you have this anger, and you accept how it's held you back, you accept how you lost things and people that you love due to this anger. Once you accept that, and you're able to dive in and see where this anger came from, if it was something that happened to you as a child, or, where's the origin of this anger? Once you sit down and really seek that, now you'll see that all the things that you were angry about, or all the things that you could be angry about now, you're not moved by it. You'll see that That anger might have just came from something small in your childhood that just never got resolved. And it kept growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. It could be something that's not simple, but it could be something like your parent leaving, a father not coming back home, your mother not coming back home. And because you saw one parent take out everything in anger, that was the example that you used, that you thought that's the way you express your hurt is through anger. You see? So now every time you're hurt, you express it in the form of anger. Or every time you feel a slightness of depression, you express it in anger. And all this comes from what? Shadow work. So now, once you've approached that, when you do the shadow work, and now you're able to see that every time you get angry, it's because you're hurt, and that's how you express it. And that hurt, the origin of this anger has come from a parent or an example that you've seen growing up. And that's how they expressed it, so you believe that's how you express it. And the origin of this hurt, not the example that you saw from, but the origin of the actual hurt that started you down this road or the path might have been from a parent, abuse or neglect. Once you tackle that problem, now what? And you resolve those issues, now you're able to move forward in life. Now, anytime something that can make you angry approaches you, now you have the ability to talk to yourself and reason with yourself before you even get angry. Before that anger demon even gets to sprout its head, you get to say, hold on. I'm feeling emotional. Anger is about to come, but anger is not the correct response. Anger is just what I've been running to in order to respond to how I feel when I feel hurt. So now let me express or articulate how I truly feel to this said person or situation. To not let my anger speak for me. You see where I'm going? And now this person has done the shadow work, went to their shadow self, healed that shadow self of where that anger comes from. And now they're able to move forward. And you say, well, what about the person who is a doctor, came up in a family full of doctors and wants to, embrace dancing? It's the same thing. This person, well, how do you do the shadow work? Well, this person has to sit down and either think about where this, not fantasy, but this desire came from. And now they have to weigh the scales of, do I not dance and look at my life where it will go? This way you visualize. You start saying, okay, if I go 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, I'm going to end up like my friends and family. Or I'm going to end up like my family. Or deep inside, I see they're not, deep inside I see they're not fulfilled. Deep inside I see they're not happy. Then you start seeing yourself go down that same road. What it would be like. Especially for the simple fact that you're already unfulfilled now. For the simple fact that you're not happy right now with your desires. And once you put yourself in those shoes and you start visualizing how it would be for you 10, 15, 20 years down the line. That makes you want to think twice about continuing being a doctor. When you start challenging the approval of others and you say, well, why does the approval of others weigh so much? When you start weighing the consequences, not of you not following your desires, but not the consequences that you would feel, but the consequences of those and how that it would affect those around you. So the consequences of you dancing now, your loved ones, how they treat you, they ostracize you, talk about you, you know, how they handle the situation of you foregoing, how they feel about you foregoing something that you have always or was put on you to follow. And once you start weighing these things, once you start weighing up these things, you see that your peace and your happiness and your desires outweigh all of what your desires outweigh the opposition that's been going against you. And the opposition is everything that's not for you in this example of your shadow self. Meaning you want to be a dancer, a professional dancer. Everything that's in opposition of that does not support that is everything that goes against that or does not support that is opposition of it. You see where I'm going? So now you start saying, well, in order for me to be at peace, in order for me to live for me, in order for me to be happy, in order for me to fulfill what God has destined for me to fulfill, in order for me to use these gifts, skills, and talents that God has bestowed upon me to utilize because he gave it to me for a reason, I must follow my dreams. I must follow my passion. That's the way life wants me to go. Even if you never really make it, just going down that journey, going down that path is what's going to allow you to fully embrace who you are. It's going to allow and it's going to start unlocking certain aspects about yourself. You may not be a professional dancer, but once you go down that path, now you see that, oh, you like dancing, but you like teaching dancing even more. So now you might open up a dance studio. And now you're allowing kids and young adults and grown adults to come in and harness their talent. So granted, you might not have made it to be this big dancer, this big ballet dancer, whatever the case may be. You're allowing other people to, manifest and grow in their desires. So so now when you look at it now, you were a doctor and you were healing people and you were saving people. It's the same thing. You're healing and helping people and saving people. Because you're allowing people to get out their skills and talents and gifts and emotions and their art in the form of dance. You see? This is why it's imperative that we look into the shadow self. Because once you look into it, you embrace it, good or bad, and you deal with it. It puts you down the path that I believe divine needs you to go down. Like I said, society and our families and all these things go against divine because they don't live for divine. A lot of people who believe in God or divine and all these things don't trust it. A lot of these people say they do, but they trust society more. They live in society more. They live in the world more than they live of the world more so than live in the world. And due to this, let's put it like this: they talk a good game, but they don't follow through. And what I mean is, they talk a good game about all this divine and how they let it lead their life and all this, or they know a lot of information about the divine, but they never really let it lead their life because it's a road less traveled. It's a narrow road. It's a scary road because now you're denying society. Now you're denying survival in this world. And you have to rely on faith. You have to rely on something you can't see. I believe that's why people deny their desires that divine has given them. But forget that these desires is what's going to take you to your higher self. These desires is what's been put in you by divine on purpose. These are the challenges that you needed to overcome. Either embrace or overcome. And we only deny it because we feel like we could be left out or ostracized or denied, made fun of if we don't, you know, put them to the back. You know, it could be anything. That shadow self, the part that we don't like, could be anything like jealousy, fear, anger. Jealousy could be holding you back from the relationship that you desire. God could bless you with the perfect partner, but you could have this bit of jealousy that's always in you from kind of some kind of toxic relationship you've had in the past, or something that you've seen growing up with your family, or whatever the case may be. You know, you have this bit of jealousy that's in you. And God could bless you with the perfect relationship. But guess what? If you don't heal this jealousy that's in you, see where it came from, do the shadow work. Even if you try to fake it, you know, while you're in this relationship, and you try to fake that you're not jealous, life is going to test you. And the divine is going to know. And when they test you, you're going to fail. And this is where people lose those relationships that they wanted, that they asked God for, because they haven't healed or even talked to. They've repressed that shadow self. Like I said, the shadow self is not inherently good or bad. It's just something that you have to dive into. Don't be scared of. Because once you dive into it and you see it for what it is, it's just another thing, another aspect, another tool for you to utilize to make you and get you closer to where you're supposed to be. That's all it is. I want to speak again on relationships and the shadow self. A feeling not worthy. Growing up, you could have been told that you're not worthy, you're not good enough, you're ugly, you're this, you're that. All these demeaning things, right? So now you've accepted that that's who you are. Or it's been drilled so much into you that that's what your subconscious runs on. Your subconscious runs on that, right? Not your conscious mind. In your conscious mind, you could always tell yourself, you are loved, you are this, you are this. But that subconscious is what runs you. And in your subconscious, you're still relying on that old programming, or you're still replaying that old programming, or you're still running on that old programming of you're not good enough, you're ugly, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that. You could be the most beautiful thing in the world. But that programming, that subconscious that's been drilled into you, right? So now, because you have this subconscious that you're running on, you pick partners that fit that subconscious programming that you were brought up on. And this is why people always pick people who's unequally yoked with them, people who abuse them. That's why they end up in toxic relationships. People who don't treat them well. People who are not for them. That's why you see this. Because of that programming that's been drilled into them. That shadow self of not being good enough. That's what their subconscious are running on. So as they pick partners, they pick mates. That's how they're picking. They're not picking with the conscience. They're picking with the I'm not good enough. So when they look in the mirror, that's what they see, I'm not good enough. But to the world, maybe see the most beautiful person. But to them, they see, I'm not good enough. So now this person has to sit and say, why am I in all these relationships? Why that don't turn out to be, they're always detrimental, they're always this. And I have to sit down and say, oh, because growing up, I was taught this, I was told I was this, I was told I was this, I was told I was this. When I go out into society, people tell me I'm this. How do I feel about me? And when you start adding up the positives and leaving the negatives, you face the negatives and you leave them alone and you don't accept them anymore. Now you're changing your subconscious. Now you're doing the shadow work. And you're seeing, oh, these were things that was put on me. These are things that people was telling me when I was younger. And I've been running on that programming because they felt this type of way because I was beautiful, but they were ugly. So they put they projected that ugliness on me, and now I've accepted that. And now that's how I live my life. With the programming someone's already put on me. So now when you break out of that and you change your subconscious and you heal, now you start picking partners who fit your higher consciousness, your higher being, your higher self. That's best for your development. And not your shadow self, not your fears, not the things that have been placed upon you by others due to projection, due to their insecurities. It's an amazing thing when you tackle the shadow self and you see it for what it is. Don't run away from it. Because like I said, this is the thing that it's the part of you that's been hidden. Or it's the part of you that hides. Or you hide it. Once you go into that darkness, you get comfortable with that darkness, and you figure it out, and you do the shadow work, and you face it. That hard part, you face it. Oh, let me tell you, when you come out that dark room, matter of fact, when you face it, it's no longer a dark room. That light gets flicked on. And now there's no more shadow self. There's no more darkness around. It's all light. Now you're raising into your highest self, your highest being. As divine needs you. So don't run away from the shadow self. Stare it down. Don't run away from it. Because on the other side of that is your highest self. I'm going to leave it right there. Episode 24 of Rich Talks, The Shadow Self. I appreciate everyone for listening. This is your favorite cousin. Y'all be safe. Love and blessings.